everyone, this is me Debashmita Sarkar. Today we are going to talk about Chapter 2 From Trade to Territory. The company establishes Part 2 of History NCERT. Today we will start from East India Company begins trade in Bengal. The first English factory was set up on the banks of river Hooghly. This was the base from which the company's traders, known at that time as factors, operated. These factors had a warehouse where goods for export were stored, and it had offices where company officials sat. As trade expanded, the company persuaded merchants and traders to come and settle near the factory. By 1696, it began building a fort around the settlement. 2 years later, it bribed Mughal officials into giving the company zamindari rights over 3 villages. One of these was Calcutta, which later grew into the city of Calcutta or Kolkata, which as it is known today. It also persuaded the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb to issue a firman granting the company the right to trade duty-free. So, the first English factory was on the banks of river Hooghly in 1651. When 1651, this was the base from which the company's traders means the at that point of time company traders were known as where goods for export were stored, and it had offices where company officials sat. The factory had a warehouse where the goods for export were stored, and that factory also have offices where the company officials sat and meet and talk. As trade expanded, the company persuaded merchants and traders to come and settle near the factory. When the trade expanded, the company then persuaded the merchants and the traders to come and settle near the factories, means near the warehouse or offices. By 1696, it began building a fort where the fort around the settlement. Then beside the around the factories, around the settlement, by 1696, the company, the East India Company, began to build fort. And 2 years later, the East India Company also bribed the Mughal official into giving the company zamindar, means they gave enough money to the Mughal officials. For what? For giving the company zamindar rights over 3 villages. They gave money to the Mughal officials to give them the zamindari rights later grew as city of Calcutta or Kolkata as it is known today. It also persuaded the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb to issue a firman granting the company the right to trade duty-free. Then they persuaded Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb to issue a firman. A firman is a royal edict or a royal order. Firman means a royal edict or a royal order. In simple word, it's a royal order. They persuaded Aurangzeb to issue a royal order for granting the company right to trade duty-free. The company tried continuously to press for more concessions and manipulate existing privileges. Aurangzeb's firman, for instance, had granted only the company only the company right to trade duty free, but officials of the company who were carrying on private trade on the side were expected to pay duty. This they refused to pay, causing an enormous loss of revenue for Bengal. How could the Nawab of Bengal, Murshid Quli Khan, not protest? Okay. So, the company tried continuously to press more concession and manipulate existing privileges. They tried continuously to manipulate existing privileges. Aurangzeb's foreman, for instance, Aurangzeb foreman that time had granted the company for the right to trade duty free, but the officials of the company who were carrying on private trade on the side were expected and were forced to pay duty. This they refused to pay, means the officials of the company refused to pay, causing an enormous loss for revenue of Bengal. As the reviews refused to pay, that caused an enormous loss of revenue for Bengal. This is a picture study. This picture shows local boats bring goods from ships in Madras, painted by William Simpson in 1867. This picture is painted by William Simpson in 1867, and this picture shows local boats. See, these local boats are arriving with goods from ships to Madras. How trade led to battle? Through the early 18th century, the conflict between the company and the Nawabs of Bengal intensified. After the death of Aurangzeb, the Bengal Nawabs asserted their power and autonomy as other regional powers were doing at that time. Murshid Quli Khan was followed by Alivardi Khan and then Siraj-ud-Dowla as the Nawab of Bengal. Each one of them was a strong ruler. They refused to grant the company concession, demanded large tributes for the company's right to trade, denied it any right to mint coins, and stopped it from extending its fortification. Accusing the company of deceit, they claimed that the company was depriving the Bengal government of huge amount of revenue and undermining the authority of the Nawab. It was refusing to pay taxes, writing disrespectful letters, and trying to humiliate the Nawab and his officials. The company, on its part, declared that the unjust demand of the local officials were ruining the trade of the company, and trade could flourish only if the duties were removed. It also convinced that to expand trade, it had to enlarge its settlement, but buy up villages and rebuild its forces. The conflicts led to confrontations and finally culminated in the famous Battle of Plassey. So, how trades led to battles? Through the early 18th century, the conflict between the company and the Nawab of Bengal intensified, means they grew more, deeper. And after the death of Aurangzeb, the Bengal power were doing at that time. Murshid Quli Khan then was succeeded by Alivardi Khan, and then Siraj-ud-Dowla was the Nawab of Bengal. So who were the Nawab of Bengal? Murshid Quli Khan, Alivardi Khan and Siraj-ud-Dowla. They were strong rulers. Each of them was a strong ruler, means a ruler who is very strong, who is very powerful, and who is very generous. They refused to grant the company concessions, demanded large tributes for the company's right to trade, denied it any right to mint coins, and stopped it from extending its fortification. The Nawab of Bengal, the Nawabs of Bengal means Murshid Quli Khan, Ali Wordi Khan, and Siraj ud-Daulah had refused to grant the company's concessions, and they demanded a large tribute for the company's right to trade, and they denied it any right to mint coins. They denied the right to mint coins and stopped them from extending its fortification, extending its architecture. The fortification means these architectures, okay, settlements where they used to live. Accusing the company of deceit, they claimed that the company was depriving the Bengal government of huge amounts of revenue and undermining the authority of the Nawab. Then they accused the company of deceit. Okay. And they claimed that the company was depriving the Bengal government of huge amount of revenue and undermining the authority of the Nawab. It also refused to pay taxes. It was means these things are done by the English officials, mean the East India Company. They refused to pay tax so that they give up and agree what the company was saying. The company on its part declared that the unjust demand of the local officials were ruining the trade of the company, and trade could flourish only if the duties were removed. Then they declared that the local officials are ruining the trade of the company, of the East India Company, and they could only flourish if the local officials were removed. It was also convinced that to expand trade, it had to enlarge its settlement, buy up villages, and rebuild its forts. And they demanded that they have to expand their trade, and this could be done only if they make more settlements, if they could buy more villages, and if they could rebuild their forts, their fortifications. These conflicts then led to confrontation and finally culminated to the famous Battle of Plassey. Battle of Plassey is very known to everyone. The Battle of Plassey. When Ali Wordi Khan died in 1756, Siraj ud-Daulah became the Nawab of Bengal. The company was worried about his power and count on a puppet ruler who could willingly give trade concessions and other privileges. So an infuriated Siraj ud-Daulah asked the company to stop meddling in the political affairs of his dominion, stop fortifications, and pay the revenues. After negotiations failed, the Nawab marched with 30,000 soldiers to the English factory at Qasim Bazar, capturing the company officials, locked at the warehouse, disarmed all Englishmen, and blockaded English ships. Then he marched to Calcutta to establish control over the company's fort there. On hearing the news of the fall of Calcutta, company officials in Madras sent forces under the command of Robert Clive, reinforced by naval fleets, prolonged negotiations with the Nawab followed. Finally, in 1757, Robert Clive led the company's army against Siraj-ud-Dawla at Plassey. One of the main reasons for the defeat of the Nawab was that the force led by Mir Zafar was one of Siraj-ud-Dawla's commanders. Never fought the battle. Clive had managed to secure his support by promising to make him Nawab after crushing Siraj-ud-Dawla. The Battle of Plassey became famous because it was the first major victory the company won in India. So, in the Battle of Plassey, this of Bengal. The company was worried about his power, as they didn't know, and keen on a puppet ruler. They thought of a puppet ruler who would willingly give trade, concessions, and other privileges. They thought to make Siraj-ud-Dawla the puppet ruler who could willingly give trade concessions and other privileges. So they tried, though without success, they were unsuccessful to help one of Siraj-ud-Dawla's rival became the Nawab. An infuriated Siraj-ud-Dawla asked the company to stop meddling in the political affair of his dominion. Then Siraj-ud-Dawla asked the East India Company to stop meddling in the political affair of his dominion, stop fortifications, and pay the revenues. After negotiations failed, the Nawab, after the request failed, the Nawab marched with 30,000 soldiers to the English factory at Kasim Bazar, captured the company officials, locked them in the warehouses, disarmed all the Englishmen, blockaded English ships. Then he marched to On hearing the news of the fall in Calcutta, company officials in Madras sent forces when they heard the news of the fall of Calcutta. The officials in Madras sent force only under the command of Robert Clive, who was the British officer of that time, reinforced by naval fleets. Prolonged negotiations with the Nawab followed. Finally, in 1757, Robert Clive led the company's army against Siraj-ud-Dawla at Plassey. In 1757, Robert Clive told his company's army to battle with Siraj-ud-Dawla at Plassey, and one of the main reasons for Nawab's defeat was that the forces was led by Mir Zafar, who was one of the Siraj-ud-Dawla's commander, and they never fought. Before the Battle of Plassey, Robert Clive had managed to secure the support of Mir Zafar crushing Siraj-ud-Dawla. And for that, the Battle of Plassey was the first and the famous major victory of the East India Company in India. This is a picture. This picture shows the General Court Room, East India, House, Leadenhall Street. The Court of Proprietors of the East India Company had their meetings in the East India House on Leadenhall Street in London. This is a picture of one of their meetings in progress. This is a picture of the meetings. So this is a picture. This is a picture study. Okay. So till this much. Okay, we have something to read. What is a puppet ruler? Puppet. A puppet is literally a toy that you can move with strings. The term is used disapprovingly to refer the person who is controlled by someone else. Many of us have seen puppet show. So there you know what is a puppet. And a puppet ruler, puppet person is one who is controlled by someone else. As a puppet is controlled by someone, then they move, and for that the puppet ruler is also the same. And did you know how the Battle of Plassey got its name? Plassey is an anglicized pronunciation of Polashi, and the place deprived its name from the Polash tree. So with this we came to the end. Thank you. Please to like, share, subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to comment in the comment. We will comment in the comment section below. Bye bye. Stay home and stay safe. And we will start from source 1, the promise of riches, in our next video.